I'm so excited about this new art journaling technique that I get to share with you today. This has become one of my favorite. What we're going to do is we're going to create a background using watercolor markers. Now the watercolor markers that I'm using are the Tombow dual brush markers. I love these. Got them on Amazon at a great price, and they really have a lot of pigment in them, and wow, what you get to see, the results are pretty incredible. You can also use Crayola. There's not as much pigment, but they still work, all right? Or you can use watercolors, just plain watercolors and a brush, doing the exact same thing that we're doing, all right? Watch this. I recommend that you start with just using some cardstock, just to kind of get a feel for what this is going to look like. And then you need to have something that's plastic, all right? I went ahead and I bought binding covers at Office Depot, but you can also use plastic bags. I have used Ziploc baggies, folks, and they work. But this, I love it because it's a little bit firmer. I'm going to lay the page right on top of my page. That gives me an idea of the area that I'm working with. And then you just select the colors that you want. Again, remember, we are doing a background here. So when we talk about background, I'm just going to do something abstract. And watch, I'm just going to add this color to the page. And how I love purple. Putting that one in there. And then I'm going to add some of this to the page in the spaces that haven't been filled yet. You can use any color combination. You can use one color if you want to do this. And then wherever there's space, I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow here, just to give it a little bit of color to pop. Now it's not going to look like much when it's on your page here. You are not going to, it's not very, very impressive. It's just kind of like, okay, great. If you look at that, you can barely see anything if I lift it up. But now watch what's going to happen. I am going to spray this using a water bottle. This is something I got at Walmart. It's just water. That's all that's in here is water. And there's a little bit of technique here of how much water. If you use too little and your lines just kind of stay the way you drew them. Too much, the colors run together and you can just get one big color, all right? But when you mix it together, look what happens. Now, if you use your nails while you're mixing it together, you're going to get lines. But if you use the tips of your fingers, it's going to blend it together. If you find that an area isn't blending as much, feel free to lift up, and you can always add just a little bit more water to that area and get it blended. Know also though, when you lift, as you lift, you're going to see that is color. That's pigment right there. So you actually influence where the pigment goes by lifting, and you can replace it down if you want, and kind of lift. If you see an area needs a little bit more color, you can actually move some of your pigment over to there, just like that. So we take that off, and you might be thinking, okay, that does not look like much. But this, my friends, is just the beginning. And it's incredible what you can actually do. Now, we're going to have to let this dry. But what's awesome is then you go ahead and take a black marker, or I love to use calligraphy marker. One's a little smaller than the other. This is the Staedtler Calligraph Duo, all right? And what you're going to do is then write on top of this. Let me show you. What I did when I was creating my page is at the bottom, I drew gifts representing the different gifts, the different abilities that God's given me. For me, I went ahead because of doing Strength Finders. I put my Strength Finders talents that the Lord has given me here at the bottom, each box representing a different one. And then at the top right here, well, Dr. Thompson talks about domains, but I like to think of them as hats. I wear all these different hats. And so what I did was I put different hats up here. I have here my wife hat. I have my daughter hat, my mother hat, my campus minister hat, a chef, because I always feel like I'm preparing meals for people to feast on from the Word. And I have my neighbor hat and my friend hat. And I created this page because I wanted to think, how do my gifts, how am I using them in each of these domains? First, I was thinking I was going to just like draw lines and then write what I used, and it was just going to be a mess. And then I decided I was going to create a second page. And again, I did this also using the same Tempo marker. I just did a band of each one as I did it on the plastic. The band's going across, sprayed it with water, put it right on here, took it off, and then flip the page around, because you'll always find whenever you do it, there's a little bit of pigment that's left on your page. Turn it around and put it, so you'll see some of the blue and the purple is actually up here at the top, because I thought about how these domains kind of flow one into the other. And then I listed each one of the domain. Then I thought, which domain do I seek to grow in? And you have to know, I am sitting here and I am creatively processing the questions at the very end of Soul of Shame under Chapter 9, right back here. Now, I've done this with a couple different groups. First time I did it, I didn't have a lot of time, and I just answered the questions. I want to say, when I took time to creatively process while answering the questions, it was amazing how much more I got out of it. So let me tell you, you don't have to do what I do, all right? Doing this 2-page spread, even using the watercolor pens or anything. This is just a new technique that I am really having a lot of fun with. But taking time to creatively process is so needed for truth to get from here to here. It also helps in listening to the Lord. And I'll be back to share with you what He laid on my heart. Have fun creating.